Can't stop our God, can't stop our God.
No sickness in our bodies.
Can't stop our God, can't stop our God.
No fear, no doubt.
Can't stop our God, can't stop our God.
No devil in hell.
Can't stop our God, can't stop our God.
No death, no grave.
Can't stop our God, can't stop our God.
No sickness in our bodies.
Can't stop our God, can't stop our God.
No fear, no doubt.
Can't stop our God, can't stop our God.
No devil in hell. You are Jehovah, everlasting Father, Jehovah, my Prince of Peace. I worship you, 'cause you are God.
Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, resonate the sound on the air. Woo! There ain't nothing that can stop our God. He's so indescribable. He's awesome. And he's wonderful. He's great. Welcome to Resonate the Sound. Welcome to this station on this very special Sunday night. I'm Chris Heineken. Yes, Sunday night, because we're capitalizing off of something that was very powerful this past Thursday night on our television broadcast. We talked about the subject of quarantine. And yes, Thursday night, as we mentioned, was part one. It was an unexpected part one. Because tonight, on this Sunday night broadcast, we're going to capitalize on that a little bit further. Well, you remember back on our series, on our program that I did with Christian McGolfin, and we talked about being spiritually handicapped, and that one had to be broken up into two parts because that message that he delivered was so powerful that it literally flooded our pastor. He took the stage with a part two to it. Well, same case here. This one's a reality check, folks. Pam started it and delivered a phenomenal performance and a great lesson that we should all take into advisement. It was Quarantine Part 1. Tonight, as we deal with that same subject, we're going to toss it over to our senior lead pastor, Brian Adams, who is standing by. And we're going to deal with this subject. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, just in case if you experience some sort of blackout on your screen, it's not because of technical difficulties. We experienced it to help you see what quarantine literally can do. We're going to discuss that subject. Pastor Brian Adams, oh my gosh, Pastor, it's all yours. Oh yeah, this one is going to be awesome. Let's go. Let's go resonate.
Let that light shine, amen. When she was talking about Mason's little song yesterday, I kind of stepped back in the classroom and was holding him while I was feeding him an apple. I told off of myself. And I'd take a bite, give him an apple, and he would try to take a little bite. He was getting restless. So Maddie's like, play this song. He likes this song. And if you ain't never seen this little video, it's really kind of cool. It's literally a black street going all like animated, and then the person's a light bulb. It's not a stick figure. You all know. All the mamas like, I know what you're talking about. It's just a light bulb. I want to talk about that for a second, and then we'll let you go. In other words, that little light lost its form of any other identity besides just a light bulb. That's powerful. It had little arms and little legs, but it would pass normal people, or it'd go by cars or down the street, but it was a light bulb. That's phenomenal, because listen, what that's really telling us is that when we take on the image of Christ, we lose our identity, and all we are is his big light bulb. Ain't that cool? That's just really super cool. You're going to say, how's that cool? It's this light bulb. That's you. You know, when you're in the places that you dread to be, do you realize God's got you there because you're the light bulb? And do you realize to be the light bulb's one thing, but you better be plugged into the power source or you can't be turned on in the middle of the darkness that you're in. Can we break it down different? How do you I'm going to say this now. If it hits you, it just hits you. Please stop thinking I'm picking on you, okay? If you're at work and you don't like your job, the reason you don't like your job is you're not plugged into God. Because you wasn't there to make your $400 or $300 or whatever you make a week. You were there by God to be the light bulb so he can have a source that's in his power through to lighten that area. That makes sense? Come on. If you're going through some darkness and struggles, can I get an amen if that's you? Do you understand that the reason you're going through that struggle is that you're the light bulb and he's waiting to be your power source so other people that are going through the same struggle can see a light out of that darkness? That makes sense. You know, what good are these? I keep looking at that. You think I know better after 2 years. Hey, kill that. What good today, what good are them light bulbs that are just there? Now, can I teach? This is your world right now at work. This is your world at home. Maybe this is your relationship. Maybe it's your marriage. Maybe it's your ministry. Whatever, hunky-dory, I don't care. Whatever you're in, this is it. Is this all the light that you're pushing off? Because if that's the case, you're as useless as them big spotlight bulbs without no power. Does that make sense? And then you want to know why you're not making a difference or why God ain't using you. And you think you're not qualified. Well, you're qualified because he made you to be the light bulb. The problem is a light bulb without any power source can't brighten nothing up. So in other words, if you're not allowing God to move in your life in the middle of your crisis, it ain't that God don't want to change your crisis and make it something good. It's more the fact is that you're not allowing him to be the source of your light. You're not allowing him to be your power source to get you out of the circumstance, to get you out of your circumstance. You're not, see, you got everything you need. Hello. He gave everyone the measure of faith. That means there's no way you get any more faith. We teach all the time, you got to let your faith grow. It ain't got nothing to do with letting your faith grow. It's got to do with getting all the other chaos out of your life so your faith can shine. When she's doing that, I was taking a note. Next time I preach out, I'm going to get a big cylinder that's clear. I'm going to drop one coffee bean in it or a black marble in it and say, this is your faith. And I'm going to have another one that has a cylinder in it with a marble or something dark in it so you can see it. Are you with me? And I'm going to say, this is your faith. Now here's how it works. If you have problems and chaos, I'm going to pour milk in it because milk, everyone thinks is pure, right, and perfect. And then as that milk fills up that container, you're going to realize you can't see your faith. Although you think you're living right, although you think you be holy, you ain't got enough faith because everything else in the world is darkening it out. But when you pour water into this cylinder, which represents in this case power of the source for your light bulb, you can be filled to the top, but you can still see your measure of faith. It's more about God's already gave you everything you need. You just need to get everything out of the way so God can turn you on. So your light source can happen. Hello? Now we all agree, them 4 powerful light bulbs up there that I could probably get a suntan with, we all believe right now they're there. Amen? But they're useless. You agree? Hello? I hear you Oh, they're only useless because you ain't got the power on. Honey, God ain't telling you you're only useless because you ain't turned on your power. You got more doubt about you being sick, more doubt that you'll never change, more doubt that you'll ever be used, more doubt that you'll ever overcome your situation than you do that God can brighten your day up. So we all agree that the light's useless. Until God, Matt, turns on the power. Now, listen, they are able to do what they're designed to do. Reuben, go to the light source. Did you hear me? You don't need more education. You don't need another Bible college. You don't need another doctorate. You'll say, I ain't got none of them. Well, good, you're perfect. This knowledge can screw it up. Come on. You have everything that God designed you to be to get you out of the mess that you're in. I said to get you. See, yes, Lord. The reason some of you in your mess, you're waiting on someone else to get you out of it. You're waiting on someone else to make you happy. You're waiting on it to be that little family. I'm going to say it anyway, Lord. You're waiting on that little family that you've always seen on TV that don't really exist. It don't matter if it's a man or a woman. Let me say man one more time because I'm talking to two of you. It don't matter if it's a man or not. If you're trying to be complete or get your family complete by a man, you're missing the point because you can only be complete by God. And God's like, will only attract a man that is going to serve him. It's just like a light attracts bugs. When you're in darkness, you only attract darkness. But a light source will attract a light source. And you might have to move on. It don't mean that you're a failure. It don't mean that you failed and they don't love you. It means that God's got bigger plans than you than being with a loser. It ain't a mistake. It's God saying, I love you. It's time for you to have what you deserve. It's time for someone to believe in you for who you are. It's time for someone to help you out in the circumstance. It's time for someone to hug you, love you. Can I really get it? It's time for the one that I designed for it to be to come and love you the way that I love you. And you can't fix a broken pump. Okay, let me get back. We all have, and you all, listen, don't get mad and get all fiddled up and I ain't coming back. Listen, you are perfectly made just like God wanted you to be. Don't matter if you see it or not. But how can you see it if you don't have the power on? Now, here we go. Not literally, stop taking everything literal. Now, these are just 4 good little Christians. We're going middle ones first. Just think, them 4 light up this stage. That's been resonating for the last 2 years. But God's saying if I can just get 6 more, go ahead. I can light up a little more. See, some of you don't think that you're needed. Kill it. And since you don't think you're needed or you're equipped, this is why we can't reach no more than what's on TV, because the lights hit the camera. But the lights ain't hitting one another and the lights ain't hitting Jonesboro. That's why we can have 300,000 watch us on services online. 300,000. But you can't come to church because you don't think we're going because you're looking at what's in the building. When the Bible tells us we don't worship by what we see. I wish someone would preach with me. We don't worship by what we see. We don't praise by what we see. I can't see God, but I know God's here. I can't see him, but I can feel him. I don't know how he's taking care of the circumstance, but I know God's taking care of that circumstance. I don't have to see him because I know he's here because I'm in the light and not in the darkness. So Resonate won't grow until you all stop looking at what ain't in the seats and realize he's already got you out in the world. He's just waiting on you to get turned on in here. So if only 6 can turn on the middle lights, what a difference. Can I teach another way? If 6 would stop gossiping and being fake, oh, I should have sat down a long time ago. Then we could really see one another's troubles for what it really is, instead of assuming we know it all. But just think the 6 is good compared to the 4. But man, what could 16 do? I just wonder. And that's you guys. That's you. When we stop thinking we're not good enough, or we're not able, or it's never going to change, and when we stop trying to bend over, if we would bend over backwards for God like we do for everyone else that's a hater, you'd be so bright, the devil would be afraid to come towards you. I hear you, Lord. I'm going to do it. I promise I will. So in my closing, how many of you feel like it just seems like no matter what you're doing, chaos and hard times, and the devil's always attacking? Right? Kill it. Kill it. Well, why wouldn't he? He's darkness. He's comfortable in your situation. You're gonna say, "But God, I've been." No. You've been actually, faith is knowing 100% God's got it took care of. Not this complaining. I've been asking, Lord. I've been praying, Lord. And God be like, you be doubting even more. You only pray when it's finally out of control. You only pray. I got to do this, and I know it's going to affect people, and you're going to get mad and do your thing like you normally do, but I got to do what God tells me. You've been praying, you've been seeking, but you be keeping it right back in the house. You be letting it come right back in. You be doing the same mess. You're like, but I prayed. And God's like, yes, but you didn't allow me to change you. You've been trying to get me to change somebody else, and God's like, I'm not even trying to get you to be attracted by them. So why would I change them when I've been trying to change you? Because what I want to be attracted to you is only attracted to light. So the reason I'm in it, the reason that it keeps being a struggle is because you still walk among the shadows. I'm going to give you the hardest lesson I had to learn, and some of you are going to disagree, and that's fine. Not that I don't care, but that's fine. I'm seasoned, and you'd think you would listen. When I was a young man and I got back in the church and was trying to do everything, I felt like I had to be around everyone else because the church wasn't going to them, and the church just don't ever want to do nothing with them, and no one's reaching out for them. And all I did was fall because I spent more time in the shadows than I did the light. I had to stop seeing my brother. I had to stop hanging around with people. Come on. Now, I know what you're saying, but somebody's got to go to them. Honey, that ain't you. Because Bible says no man can come to God unless God draws them. So you might be thinking you're doing some good just because you being faithful and you come to church every once in a while, but you don't realize your light ain't as bright as you think because it's just as dark as the shadows you in. Because you're not showing a difference. You're not being a part. You mean well. I know, I've been there. I meant well. It cost me 3 ministries and in and out. But when I finally got to the spot where like, all right, Lord, you know my heart for them. What do I got to do? Because every time I try to help them, I get backstabbed, I get hurt, I get misled, I get my heart broke, I do this. And God's like, I don't need you to be trying. I'm the only one that can save them anyway. I just need you to turn on the light. I just need you to be the light so they know where to walk. I don't need you to communicate. I don't need you to go out of your way, because when you do this to come talk to them, you're turning away from where I'm leading you, even if it's just for a second. Because you're making it look like you're justifying what they're doing, although I don't justify it in my word. I know you're not happy with it. I know you want to disagree with it, but that's why you've been struggling for years. Can't. Because even if you're doing it on good intentions, them intentions are against the word of God when it says you must be separated. But how do we win them? By turn them on all of them, by being in true light. Because when they're around true light, they realize it ain't the addiction that's been tripping them up, it's their own 2 feet. When they're in true light, they can see that how you're really walking instead of them thinking that you're walking just to find it in and out. Because when you're walking in true light, they're like, oh, I get it. They've really changed. Your kids will see a difference. Your spouse will see a difference. You'll see a difference. When you allow God to be your power source. Now, you're going to say, what's that got to do with quarantine? Well, as you stand, I'll end it and we'll leave. Get ready for it. To Christians, I don't like that word. I just don't like Christians, and that got me in trouble the other day. To disciples, quarantine is total darkness now. This is quarantine. Because you can't see past a certain realm. You can't see past your failures. You can't see past your itchiness to want to do something. You can't see past. You're in enough light that you'll pray, but you can't see past your sickness. You can't see past your struggle. That's why you don't study and pray, but then you want to know why God don't use you, because you're quarantining your mind so you don't meditate on the Word day and night. You don't listen to praise music. And I'm going to say that because that's a big part. People don't get that. Even when you don't want it, you're too tired to study, you're too tired. I get it. I'm human. That there should be never no reason you're too tired to praise. But this is quarantine. Not saying you're lost. Just saying you can't see past your circumstance because you're not allowed God to be your light source. That is quarantine for a disciple. He's like, I don't want to be a disciple. That's what's quarantining you from realizing He never called us to be Christians. He only called us to be disciples.
Hi everyone, I'm Cornbread Heineken, the Dean of Arkansas Sportscasters and host of Resonate Cell. I want to say a special thank you for resonating to amplify Jesus with us here today. No matter where you are, if you're joining us live here at Resonate Church, whether you're joining us nationwide courtesy of your local syndicated television stations across the country, or if you're joining us internationally and globally courtesy of our YouTube simulcast. Thanks so much for resonating Jesus with us. Now, you're asking and you're saying, Cornbread, resonate. No, you guys always bless us, but we want to turn around and bless you through the act of worship called giving. How do we do it? Yes, we have multiple ways, 4 in particular, on which you can resonate your giving. Check it out. Number 1, join us live and in person here at Resonate Church at our brand new location, 3702 East Highland Drive. It is directly across the street from All-Star Music in Jonesboro, Arkansas. Sundays, 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Wednesday nights at 6:30, and we do keep in mind, things scheduled subject to change. Option number 2, online. That's a little tidely thing right there. Use the term Resonate Church AR. That's right, everything right there on the screen. Resonate Church AR if you want to resonate your giving online. Just follow the directions and you can do that safely and securely. Option 3, the cell phone. Look, we all got one. Might as well use it, shall we? Want to resonate your giving using your cell phone? All you gotta do, text the word give to that number right there on your screen. Safe, fast, secure, easy, simple to do. Option 4, mailing. If you want to mail your contributions to us, courtesy of a check or money order, please make all checks and money orders payable to Resonate Church and send it to the address on your screen. Once again, if you want to resonate your giving courtesy of a mailing option, send your check or money order. Make all checks and money orders payable to Resonate Church and send it to that address on your screen. And those are the ways you can resonate your giving. And remember, show love, give peace, and say Jesus. Even watching it here on the monitor. That's awesome. Thank you, Pastor. I said it this past Thursday night, and I don't mind repeating it. Now that song, This Little Light of Mine, I'm gonna let it shine. If you really dig down deep into it, it does talk about more than just letting your light shine. This song really talks about how you should not let isolation stop you from letting your light shine. It does deal with the subject of quarantine, believe it or not. If you really look at the verses from a spiritual perspective, it will all indicate on why you should not let your light stop shining. Why you should let it shine all the time. Pastor gave a phenomenal demonstration, of course, with the church lights. And as I mentioned in our open, and I'm going to mention it here, we did not experience a technical difficulty because the screen got blocked out. There was no blockage here on this program. The reason why that had to take place, and all you heard was audio, and you saw a black screen, it was to literally make a point of what being quarantined really can do for you spiritually. And it's a lot of negative side effects. A lot of it. In churches, I hope you paid attention to what went down this past Thursday and what went down tonight. Because I said it so many times over the last 2 years. I said it this past Thursday, and I'm going to keep saying it again. You're qualified, not quarantined. God wants to involve you. He doesn't want to isolate you from the people that He's called to be in your life. And when I say that, I'm not talking about gossipers. I'm talking about people that God called you in your life to help you grow. Not help you to be down. Not help you to be stuck in your ways. But to help you evolve and grow in Jesus. See, if you really want the truth, and you heard our pastor say it, and you've heard Pam say it this past Thursday, you realize that being in isolation, and you realize that being quarantined, you literally put darkness on yourself? Do you realize that? Quarantine does produce darkness. Where the world literally says, oh yeah, it's acceptable. Quarantine will literally, hey churches, here's something for you. Quarantining yourself from everybody else, especially the ones that really need to enter your church the most, quarantining yourself literally keeps you from doing what God has called you to do. God never called you to be quarantined. Yes, there's a difference between being set apart and separated from the world than being separated from Jesus. That's a big difference. Big difference. You can be separated from the world and be separated from the gossip and all that. All the nonsense. But you don't have to be separated from the believers that are not the gossipers, that are not the dramas, or may I say drama starters, but the ones that are bottom line is going to help you evolve and grow. And churches, I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. You're called to be a spiritual hospital. Why is it all of a sudden, 1 year happened, one event happened, it literally kept you from doing your job? And let me say this to every pastor on the planet. Open your church doors. There's a world out there that God has called you to. That bottom line need to hear, and they need to experience Jesus like they never have before. And guess what? They can't experience it unless if you allow God to open up your heart. Don't be quarantined. Be qualified. In fact, you are qualified. God called you. So guess what? That means you're qualified. He called you. That means you are qualified, not quarantined. And to you qualified folks, that bottom line living in quarantine, guess what? Why don't you plead the blood of Jesus over any and everything, including your whole house, and get out of your quarantine state and get yourself back into qualification. Yeah, that's blunt, but it's real. And it's meant to help. That's why Wrestling Sounds Down to Earth. We're here to help. We're here to be real, and get this, being real doesn't mean hurting people. It means helping people. We weren't called just to be sitting down. We were called to get out there. And guess where the mission field is? Guess where the Jesus part is in this whole equation? Out there. It's not inside your church doors. It's out there. You will never grow. And bottom line, you'll never go. You can't grow if you don't go. You reap what you sow. You sow quarantine, you reap darkness. If you sow the seed that Jesus planted inside of you, look at all that harvest that's out there. And churches, let me really talk to you. There's a big time harvest out there. So what if it's 2022? So what? There's still a harvest out there. Stop waiting for things to be normal. God placed you right there in that spot for a reason. Stop waiting for stuff to be normal. And for you believers that continue to talk death and talk negativity, here's a reality check for you. Stop that crap. Yeah, I said it. Stop that crap. Stop talking negativity. Stop passing that generational curse that has lived in the church for over 700 years. Stop. There's a ton of people out there that bottom line need a light. You are the light. Don't be a light to them. That's real talk, folks. Don't be a light to them. Guess what? If this little light of my eye let it shine, if that really means that much to you, guess what? Get out of isolation and get yourself involved out there in God's business and in His kingdom. Because that's where the harvest is. Not just because it's quote unquote September. Not just because it's quote unquote the fall season. There's a whole world out there that needs Jesus. And guess what? Guess who are the ones that have been chosen to literally give them the light of Jesus? Not only show them the light of Jesus, not only live the light of Jesus, but to give it to them. You're the one that's called. Why are you sitting back? We were never called to be Christians. We're called to be disciples. Disciples are on a whole nother level than Christians. Some say that's debatable. No, it ain't. Read the word. We were never called to be Christians. Christians in a stagnant state. Christians depend on precedents and they depend on certain political parties to literally change the world. When disciple says, we don't depend on that, we depend on God. And God called us to change the world, and we're going to do that. See, that's why we're not Christian television. We're discipleship TV. We're not meant to hurt. We're meant to help. I'm not going to apologize for anything I've said. Whether I'm talking to family members, whether I'm talking to friends, whether I'm talking to fellow church people, or whether I'm talking to a whole bunch of believers. There are cities in the United States, and please hear me. There are cities in the United States that literally have low church rates. And bottom line, don't even have access to a Bible, or bottom line, can't even afford to even conduct a Bible study. And yet the people who are called are not the ones going there. Because they're the ones that literally say there's nothing out there. Let me tell you something. We're in those areas. Thanks to the awesomeness of God, we've been available to those areas. And you want to know why? Because God meant for us to be in those areas where, bottom line, they don't have any access to any word, any access to any good news. And they need to hear it from some folks that are going to be real. That's what this program is for. That's why this program is chosen. And churches, that's why you, and yes, we do put a lot of emphasis on the churches, because we believe in you just like God does. If not equally like God does. That's why we believe in you. That's why we're here to help. We ain't got it all. But let me tell you something on why we have Jesus. Because Jesus has it all. Yes, I'm very passionate about this. Because churches, stop waiting till things are normal. God has it like that for a reason. And for those of you that think that, oh, just because things happen in the world means it's the end of the world, I'm going to be a little bit blunt right here when I literally say this. Please shut up. Please. Please. Because what you're doing is speaking death and you're rushing God. God is time. Why are you rushing time and why are you rushing God? Period. That means there's nothing to discuss. Time is on your side. And you want to know why? Because God gave it to you. And He gave you the time and opportunity. And guess what? If you have a relationship with Him, and not just base your relationship off rules, but if you have a true relationship with Him, you'll be one of the ones that literally says, forget isolation. Let me go get circulating. Let me go get circulated with Jesus. Trust me, it'll pay off in the end. Churches, the responsibility is on you. The government's not going to change a thing. The government can't change the planet for you. They can't do nothing for you. Only God can. This ain't no political message at all. But this is real talk. The only ones that can change the world is you. God called you to it, and He'll bring you through it. You grow through what you go through. God won't put no more on you than what you can handle. Listen to it, will you? God's got way too much greatness for you. Why are you kicking His greatness for you to the curb? Because you choose to be like the rest of the world. Churches, stop shutting down because of bad times. Be the ones that keep Jesus flowing. And to you individuals that are underneath the sound of my voice, that live in those areas that have very low church rates, you could be the one that shines the light of Jesus to them. And you can be the change that makes all the difference. Try it, will you? God, thank you for resonating your sound to us. And God, thank you for calling us to be the ones and choosing us to be the ones that will shine your light to the world. God, thank you for us. Thank you for showing us the way of Discipleship TV. That even one episode can help turn a church around, much less help turn the local community around, and also the world. God, you're wonderful and you're awesome. Greatness really doesn't describe, really is not really the word to describe how incredibly great you are. God, thank you so much. And God, thank you for resonating your sound to us. Thank you at home for watching. Hey, ain't no service like a live resonate service, because live resonate service don't stop. It's a very different atmosphere here, and it's awesome. Why should you be left out? Why don't you come join us right here at Resonate Church? Info right there on the screen. Plus, 4 ways you resonate. You give it ResonateChurchJonesboro.com and see other option. And on the pictures, news, scoops, views, info, so much more. Facebook.com/Resonate Church Jonesboro. And you're watching this program on YouTube channel. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, ring that bell, ding ding. That way you ain't missing anything. We got another good one coming for you this Thursday night. Back on our regular schedule. We indeed pray you join us. For our entire crew, I'm Chris Heineken. We say to you, show love, give peace, you know it. Resonate Jesus. 9 p.m. Eastern globally is when our YouTube simulcast starts Thursday. You'll have it right here on this station at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. Join us this Thursday night, will ya? Good night, Canada. Good night, everybody. See you Thursday night. So